McDonald's has spent billions selling the idea of 100% beef and fresh ingredients. But behind those golden arches, former employees and health inspectors are telling a very different story. These 5 shocking truths will change the way you see fast food forever. And I'll show you what to eat instead. Let's start with what McDonald's calls 100% beef, but what food scientists call mechanically separated meat product. You've probably heard whispers about pink slime, but the reality is so much worse than you imagine. That ground beef in your burger isn't ground at all. It's been mechanically separated, chemically treated, and reassembled into something that barely resembles actual meat. A former McDonald's meat processing plant worker shared this nightmare with me. We'd take all the leftover scraps, tendons, cartilage, fat trimmings, and run them through a machine that looked like a giant washing machine. What came out was this pink paste that we'd mix with ammonia to kill the bacteria. Ammonia? The same chemical used to clean your bathroom floors is being used to wash your hamburger meat. But here's the kicker. McDonald's stopped using the ammonia-washed beef in 2012 after public outcry, but they never stopped using mechanically separated meat. The pink slime might be gone, but we're still getting meat from the same processing plants, revealed a former quality control inspector. They just found new ways to make the scraps look like ground beef. More chemicals, different processes, same questionable results. Think about this. When was the last time you saw a McDonald's burger actually rot? Real meat spoils within days, but McDonald's burgers can sit on a counter for months without growing mold. That's not preservation. That's chemical engineering. A viral experiment showed McDonald's burgers sitting unchanged after 6 months, while homemade burgers with real meat had completely decomposed. One food scientist commented, "If bacteria won't eat it, should you?" But it gets worse. The beef in your burger contains up to 18 different additives, including silicon dioxide, the same compound found in sand and glass. You're literally eating sand with your Saturday night dinner. Former employees described the meat arriving in frozen blocks that look more like building materials than food. "We'd have to thaw these gray blocks that smelled like nothing," said a former prep worker. "Real meat has a smell. This stuff was odorless," which should have been our first red flag. The patties themselves are formed using a process called meat glue, an enzyme that literally glues meat scraps together to look like solid pieces. "It's like making a hamburger out of meat confetti," explained a former food technologist. Dozens of different animals, different cuts, all glued together and shaped into something that looks like a burger. But what holds it together is just the beginning. Because once that Frankenstein patty is formed, they don't stop there. They load it with chemicals, preservatives, fillers, flavor enhancers, until that simple hamburger contains more chemicals than your medicine cabinet. And some of them are banned in countries that actually care about food safety. McDonald's loves to advertise their simple ingredients. But a deep dive into their actual ingredient lists reveals a chemical cocktail that would make a pharmaceutical company proud. That Quarter Pounder contains over 40 different chemical additives. Let's start with the bun. It contains azodicarbonamide, a chemical also used in yoga mats and shoe rubber. This dough conditioner is banned in Europe and Australia because it breaks down into potentially carcinogenic compounds when heated. But in America, it's perfectly legal to put in your sandwich. We'd get ingredient lists that were 3 pages long for a simple hamburger, revealed a former McDonald's corporate food scientist who spoke on condition of anonymity. Most of the ingredients weren't food at all. They were preservatives, flavor enhancers, and texture modifiers designed to make cheap ingredients taste like real food. The special sauce on a Big Mac contains high fructose corn syrup, sodium benzoate, calcium disodium EDTA, and natural flavors, which can legally include up to 100 different chemical compounds that don't have to be individually listed. But here's where it gets truly disturbing. The natural beef flavor used in McDonald's fries isn't natural at all. It's a laboratory-created chemical compound that mimics the taste of beef fat. Vegetarians who think they're eating plant-based fries are actually consuming artificial meat flavoring. The flavor labs were like something out of a science fiction movie, described a former flavor chemist who worked with McDonald's suppliers. We'd create beef flavor from petroleum derivatives and call it natural because it chemically resembled compounds found in real beef. It was legal, but it wasn't honest. The preservatives alone read like a hazardous materials list. BHT, also used in jet fuel, TBHQ, a petroleum derivative, and propyl gallate, linked to liver damage in animal studies. These chemicals are designed to prevent spoilage, but they also prevent your body from properly digesting and eliminating the food. McDonald's chicken nuggets contain dimethyl polisiloxane, an anti-foaming agent also used in silly putty and contact lens solution. When asked why this chemical is necessary in chicken, a former food technologist explained, "The chicken is so processed and contains so many other additives that it foams up during cooking. We had to add anti-foaming agents just to make it look normal." Even the pickles aren't safe. They're preserved with aluminum sulfate, the same chemical used in antiperspirants and water treatment plants. You're literally eating deodorant with your burger. The most shocking revelation? Many of these chemicals are banned in the European Union, Canada, and Australia. McDonald's serves completely different formulations in those countries because their governments actually regulate food additives. American McDonald's contains chemicals that other developed nations consider too dangerous for human consumption. But the additives don't stop at the burger. They're bubbling in the fryer too, because those golden fries, they're cooked in oil that's older than some of the kids serving them. And what's growing in that grease will make you think twice before ordering anything fried again. McDonald's fries are supposed to be cooked in oil that gets changed regularly, but former employees reveal a different reality. "We were supposed to change the oil every few days," admitted a former fry cook from Texas. Reality? We'd go weeks with the same oil, just filtering out the big chunks and hoping nobody noticed. But here's what happens to oil that sits at high temperatures for weeks. It doesn't just get dirty. It becomes a breeding ground for dangerous compounds that can literally poison you. Rancid oil produces aldehydes, the same toxic chemicals found in paint thinner and formaldehyde. The oil would turn black and start smoking, but management would tell us to keep using it, revealed a former kitchen manager. They'd say, "Just turn down the temperature and add some fresh oil on top." Like that would magically fix weeks of contamination. Health inspectors have found McDonald's fryer oil containing levels of harmful compounds that exceed safe consumption limits. One inspection report noted, oil samples showed evidence of prolonged overheating and bacterial contamination, consistent with extended use beyond recommended guidelines. Former employees describe oil so old and contaminated that it would foam up when food was added. The fries would come out darker than they should be, with this weird, bitter aftertaste, said a former worker. "We knew something was wrong, but customers kept ordering them, so we kept serving them." The filtration systems designed to clean the oil are often broken or improperly maintained. The filters were supposed to be changed weekly, explained a former maintenance worker. But they were expensive, so we'd just rinse them off and put them back. After a few months, they weren't filtering anything, just circulating the same contaminated oil. But perhaps most disturbing, the oil isn't just old. It's mixed with oil from different batches, different suppliers, and sometimes even different types of oil entirely. "We'd run out of the regular oil and just dump in whatever we had," admitted a former manager. "Vegetable oil, canola oil, sometimes even expired oil from other restaurants. It all went into the same fryer." The result? Fries cooked in a toxic soup of rancid oil, chemical compounds, and bacterial contamination that your liver has to work overtime to process. That's not fast food. That's slow poison. And here's the kicker. McDonald's knows about these issues, but continues to prioritize profit over safety. Internal documents revealed that corporate is aware of widespread oil quality problems, but considers the cost of proper maintenance higher than the risk of customer complaints. And if that's how they treat the oil, just imagine what's happening behind the counter. Because according to former employees, the hygiene and training standards at McDonald's, worse than a gas station bathroom. And what they reveal about how your food is actually handled will make you question every meal you've ever eaten there. McDonald's prides itself on speed and efficiency, but former employees reveal that this obsession with fast service comes at the expense of basic food safety. "We were timed on everything," shared a former crew member from Michigan. "Hand washing took too long, so most people just used hand sanitizer between handling raw meat and serving customers." But hand sanitizer doesn't kill everything, especially when employees are handling raw chicken, beef, and then immediately touching your fries with the same gloves. Cross-contamination isn't an accident at McDonald's, it's built into their system. During lunch rush, we'd handle raw meat, wipe our gloves on our aprons, and immediately start assembling burgers, revealed a former kitchen worker. There was no time to change gloves between tasks. Management said speed was more important than safety protocols. The training process is equally horrifying. New employees get minimal food safety instruction, often just a brief video and a few hours of shadowing another worker. "I was handling food after 2 hours of training," admitted a former employee. "Nobody taught me about temperature control, cross-contamination, or proper hand washing. I learned by watching other people cut corners." Health inspections consistently find McDonald's locations failing basic hygiene standards. One report documented employees eating while preparing food, using the same utensils for raw and cooked items, and failing to wash hands after using the restroom. But here's the most disturbing part. The employee break areas are often located directly adjacent to food prep areas, with no barriers to prevent contamination. People would eat their lunch, smoke cigarettes, use their phones, then go right back to making food without washing their hands, described a former shift supervisor. The uniforms tell their own story. Former employees describe being required to wear the same uniform for multiple shifts without washing, leading to aprons and shirts covered in grease, food particles, and bacteria. "My uniform would be so dirty it could stand up by itself," joked a former worker. "But we were only allowed to take home one uniform at a time, so most people just wore dirty clothes rather than do laundry every day." Equipment cleaning is equally problematic. The same rags used to wipe down prep surfaces are used to clean equipment, floors, and sometimes even restrooms. We had one cleaning rag that would make the rounds: grill, fryer, floor, bathroom, then back to the food prep area, revealed a former maintenance worker. The ice machines, drink dispensers, and coffee makers are rarely cleaned properly. Multiple health inspections have found mold, bacteria, and even insects in beverage equipment. "The soda machines were so gross inside that we'd joke about customers getting extra protein with their Coke," said a former employee. Perhaps most shocking, many locations have pest problems that management tries to hide rather than address. "We had mice in the storage areas, but instead of calling an exterminator, management just told us to keep the food in sealed containers and not mention it to customers," revealed a former manager. The broken ice cream machine isn't just an inconvenience. It's a symbol of McDonald's entire approach to equipment maintenance. "The machine wasn't actually broken most of the time," admitted a former night shift manager. "It was just easier to say it was broken than to explain that we hadn't cleaned it in 3 days and there was stuff growing inside that would make you sick." But cleanliness is just the surface. The real danger runs deeper. Because what McDonald's serves day after day isn't just making you sick in the short term. It's fueling the epidemic of chronic disease that's devastating American families. And they're counting on you not to connect the dots. McDonald's isn't just serving you a meal. They're serving you an addiction. The combination of high fructose corn syrup, MSG, and artificial flavors creates a chemical dependency that keeps you coming back for more, even when your body is screaming for real nutrition. "We had customers who came in multiple times a day," revealed a former manager. "Not because they were hungry, but because they were literally addicted to the chemical combination in our food." It was sad to watch, but corporate called them loyal customers. The long-term health consequences are devastating and well documented. Regular McDonald's consumption has been linked to obesity, diabetes, heart disease, liver damage, and even certain cancers. But here's what they don't tell you: the damage starts immediately. A single McDonald's meal can spike your blood sugar higher than eating pure sugar, trigger inflammatory responses that last for hours, and flood your system with trans fats that your body can't properly process. "After eating McDonald's, your blood looks like chocolate milk under a microscope," explained a nutritionist who studied fast food's immediate effects. The preservatives and chemicals accumulate in your body over time, particularly in your liver and kidneys. We're seeing people in their 30s with liver damage typically associated with chronic alcoholics, said a gastroenterologist. The only difference? These patients don't drink. They just eat fast food regularly. Children are especially vulnerable. Studies show that kids who eat McDonald's regularly have higher rates of ADH, behavioral problems, and learning disabilities. The artificial colors, preservatives, and flavor enhancers literally rewire developing brains to crave processed foods over natural nutrition. But perhaps most disturbing, McDonald's targets low-income communities with aggressive marketing, creating food deserts where processed fast food is more accessible than fresh, healthy options. "They're not just selling food," explained a public health researcher. "They're systematically destroying the health of entire communities for profit." The medical costs associated with McDonald's-related health problems exceed billions of dollars annually. Heart disease, diabetes, obesity-related cancers. The healthcare system is drowning in diseases directly linked to processed food consumption. But here's the good news. You don't have to sacrifice convenience or taste to eat real food. Instead of McDonald's burgers, try local burger joints that use grass-fed beef. Or better yet, make your own. A simple ground beef patty with real seasoning tastes infinitely better and won't poison your family. Craving fries? Sweet potato fries baked in coconut oil give you that crispy satisfaction without the toxic oil. Or try air-fried regular potatoes with sea salt. Your taste buds will thank you. For quick breakfast, skip the Egg McMuffin and grab real eggs, avocado toast, or Greek yogurt with berries. These options give you actual nutrition instead of chemical-laden processed food. Need something fast? Opt for chains known to use higher quality ingredients. Even better, meal prep on Sundays. Grilled chicken, roasted vegetables, and quinoa can be portioned for the entire week. The key is planning ahead and choosing restaurants that prioritize real ingredients over profit margins. Your body and your wallet will thank you in the long run. McDonald's built its empire on convenience, but the real cost is your health, your family's future, and your quality of life. Pink slime, chemical fillers, rancid oil. These aren't mistakes. They're the result of putting profit before people. You deserve better than meat scraps held together with additives. And your kids? They deserve food that nourishes, not hooks. So the next time you see those golden arches, remember what's really behind them and who spoke